that game, but it was
You see, you shouldn't. It's always a mistake to talk. Whenever you start to say I'm not getting any worse positions. All my games are smooth, and then suddenly you get.
welcome back, everybody. It's a special day here in the C Squad universe. We have Fabiano Caruana joining us from Isle of Man after a historical day back to 2800. Last time your 2800 was in October 2021. It's been a long time coming, but finally you're back there. How are you feeling? Initial thoughts?
Well, I don't know. I mean, what thoughts can I have? Like to me, it doesn't feel like much happened. It was. Of course, I'm happy to win the game, but yeah, the rating first of all in the middle of the tournament, and also 2800 is not like. I mean, I actually have very clear memories of the first time that I was close to approaching 2800, and that was like a big moment. I was like really amped up for reaching it for the first time, but that was 9 years ago. So it doesn't really have much weight. It doesn't feel like it has much weight anymore for me. But it's good. It's at least I'm so far the tournament is going well. It's only 2 rounds. That's also why I'm not trying to get too excited. It's still just started, and to be honest, my both my opponents in the first 2 rounds they didn't play anywhere near their best level. So I'm pretty aware that uh, yeah, I got a bit fortunate with how both Ivan in the first round and how Hans were not at their best level.
Absolutely. Let's talk about this situation with Hans. Let's tell me the critical moments from today's game.
Uh, yeah, it's well, I got nothing from the opening. I was just basically bullshitting from the very beginning with H3. I mean, it's not really a dangerous move. There's no point to it, but there's a huge amount of theory in general in chess these days, and if you play a move like H3, yeah, you're out of theory. This is the main point. There's nothing, and and I have a great deal of experience in these structures, so I know the structures pretty well.
Mhm.
I more or less know what I'm looking for. In this game, I chose a very straightforward plan, which was to play bishop e3, knight c3. Actually, I thought maybe he um, shouldn't be playing bishop d6. I wasn't sure. Maybe he should take on e3. It's a big question.
Mhm.
But okay, he went. What he did was fine. Everything was normal. And then I play this d4, and of course, at this moment, he needs to kind of be a little bit, um, or at least he could definitely benefit from being a bit dynamic here and going for the very critical f5. That's what I thought. I actually didn't check the position with a strong engine.
Mhm.
Of course, it's equal probably in a variety of ways, but I thought f5 was a very good way of doing it.
Yeah.
Bishop e6, I was happy to see because it's a slow move. It gives me a safe position. Like I don't really have to worry too much. I take a d5. Okay, d5 is maybe not even the best move, but d5 take, knight takes, very safe, small advantage for white.
Yeah.
And queen d7, then I played queen d3, maybe even not the most accurate. He took on d5, knight e7, queen d3. I'll just like fast forward to the moment when he mentioned something briefly after the game to me.
Mhm.
So I'll just mention that he pinpointed his mistake as queen a5. He thought that queen e4 was equalizing. And the truth is that queen e4 is not a good move because I take on d8 and then rook d1. And again, he has back rank issues.
Yeah. It seems like
So
he underestimated these back rank issues, this transition into a queen bishop versus queen knight.
yeah, he missed the idea of rook d8, rook d1. It's clear that this was not on his radar. Probably from a purely superficial point of view, he thought trade of rooks must be equal.
Mhm.
But of course, here it's very concrete because he's losing the a7 pawn.
Yeah.
So after take on d1, queen d1, and like if he could play queen d5, sure, it would be fine. But yeah, a7 is hanging in the end.
Yeah.
So even I was calculating this endgame after like queen d5, take, bishop a7, knight b4, and then his knight ends up getting marooned, like bishop c5, for example. His knight gets marooned either on c2 or a2.
Yeah.
So this is not good. So he actually played the correct move. I found this nice move, queen g4. Actually, I saw it in advance because I expected queen a5. And here he blundered with queen a6, missed rook d8, rook d1, and that's game over. he still can hold on with Queen C7. It's a bit unpleasant, but objectively speaking, he's not in huge danger. So it was basically a one move thing, but I think that he was already getting under pressure and starting to get low on time after Queen G4, and I was putting the pressure on. So he was clearly uncomfortable after Queen G4. I could already feel that, and you could see it from the time situation and all that.
Yeah, and I think you finished the job very precisely. B3, force the knight to H8, and after that, never let go of the advantage. Never allowed any sort of counter chances. So the precision was definitely there. Do you feel that's part of the reason things are going so well? I've noticed that during the US Championship as well. It was the precision that definitely was standing out. Is that something that you're feeling also?
Uh, well, I don't know. I actually don't feel it. Like sometimes I always feel like my technique is not that great, and then sometimes it ends up being fine. Like today I also felt I wasn't finding the most precise way, but okay, everything was winning. It's pretty clear, but I felt like there should be some way to not even have to calculate. But anyway, today my technique was fine. But against Mishra, um, definitely my technique was not fine against him. So yeah, sometimes my technique does leave something to be desired. Also against Saric, once I got an advantage, I kind of let it slip. But that was quite a difficult one against Saric. That was a difficult calculation exercise. So that one I kind of forgive myself for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah, overall, of course, today was a good game. I played well. He didn't. He had a bad day, very clear. But anyway, I did what I had to do, I guess.
Yeah, definitely did your job. Actually, you mentioned that reaching 2800 again doesn't hold as much weight for the simple fact that you've done that 9 years ago. And for 7 of those years, it feels like almost being above 2800 became part of your identity. You dropped after that. Did you feel any sort of identity crisis at that point when you dropped, after the Olympiad in India to 2756, I believe it was? And is something regained based on that perspective after reaching back to 2800?
Okay, in general, I'm not a super dramatic person. I mean, of course, it was a terrible period. I was very tilted. I mean, terrible for my chess after the candidates. And the Olympiad, I was, um, my confidence was very low. I can tell you that much.
Mm-hmm.
So my confidence was basically in the gutter. But after the tournament, I didn't draw some huge conclusions. I didn't think, okay, everything's over. And still, I mean, right after the Olympiad, I think I had a more or less fine end of the year, like Sinkfield Cup
Yep.
+1. I won the Chess 9LX event and US Championship. I won. So it was like a quick rebound after that. Uh, yeah, I wasn't despairing or anything. Of course, my rating was the lowest it had been since like 2013. I briefly had this period in 2013 where I actually was probably lower here this time.
Mm-hmm.
But I had like a terrible Vikings in 2013, and my rating dropped to 2757. And that was my lowest until 2022. So yeah, it was for chess wise, it wasn't good. I felt like my chess was, but already felt that from let's say from the 2021 candidates forward, because the pandemic did nothing good for my chess.
Yeah.
Um, it was not good for me. I don't know if it was good for anyone except maybe the young players, but for me, I was one of the players who dropped the most in terms of level from pandemic onward. So in 2021 candidates, even though my rating was still like 2800, I felt like I'm not ahead of the other guys anymore. That was my feeling, even before the rating caught up. And then and then ratings caught up and I was no longer ahead of the guys, like ahead of let's say Hikaru, Anish, Wesley, and so on. The obviously it's not like it's easy to be ahead of them, but for a while I was, by rating at least, I was ahead of all of them, besides Magnus, obviously. So now I'm not going to draw any conclusions now,
Mm-hmm.
but my play has seemed to improve. I feel like my play has, in general, the quality has gone up.
Mm-hmm.
The quality from uh, Bucharest onward. From Bucharest, Norway, despite the last round disaster against Hikaru, the World Cup, and the various online rapid events that I played. Uh, the quality was there. The results weren't always perfect, but the quality was kind of more or less there. I was always showing a decent. I never played like shit. That's the thing. I didn't have a tournament where I played like shit.
Yeah.
I had games where I played like shit, but never like a whole tournament. So, uh, of course, again, I'm not someone who draws massive conclusions. I'm not going to read too much into things as people tend to like to do. But I'm happy that my play is at the moment quite decent.
Yeah, and I think that's something I remember you mentioned during Norway as well. Basically, you mentioned that you didn't have worse position in a very long time and you're planning to keep it that way. I think we were getting ready for one of the games and we're discussing strategies and whether to take more risk than necessary, and you mentioned that you just you simply don't want to have a worse position. Well, Fabi,
And then I lost in 15 moves to Hikaru. So that's
I don't think it was before.
Oh, I'm not getting any worse positions. All my games are smooth, and then suddenly you get fucked. That's what happens. So don't do that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think I'll leave you with a thought from the great John Bartholomew. I think he posted at some point on Twitter. Very insightful tweet. Kind of. I didn't realize this perspective before, but a lot of winners, and I realize that with me very often. I'm thinking whenever things go right, I feel like, oh, I'm going to regress to the mean, right? And maybe things will balance out. Winners and in generally people that keep things very positive are very greedy when it comes to, hey, yeah, I'm going to continue doing well, I'm going to continue doing well, and so far and so forth. So I'll leave you with that. Obviously still plenty of rounds to go in.
No, I agree. You have to ride the momentum. Like you don't always get chances in general in everything. Like you're not going to get chances forever. They come rarely. As many as come to you, you have to basically try to grab every one. So I mean, in chess, I'm sure in every other aspect of life as well, you'll see similarities, but it's difficult to get opportunities, you know. So just because they're coming, uh, don't try to take everyone you can because you shouldn't assume that they're going to come forever.
Absolutely.
At some point you might. I mean, yeah, it's always some ups and downs, right?
Absolutely. Don't worry about regressing to the means. Just do your best and keep it going. All right, Fabi. Nice. Congrats. Still plenty of rounds to go. I'll let you go back to your preparation, go back to your tournament. And I'll see you tomorrow.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Thanks for supporting us. Thanks for leaving your comments, giving us your energy. This journey back to 2800 was definitely helped by your report as well. If you did enjoy this video, don't forget, like, subscribe, and most importantly, tell your friends where you're hanging out. Tell your friends which conversations you're engaged with. Definitely, thanks once again for your support, and we'll see you guys in the next video.